You know, you have these moments, you have no idea what life even really means or like, why is this happening? But now, 12 years later, I totally understand the entire journey along the way, just because it was like so odd how things happened for me coming out of treatment, then getting the opportunity for WWE, never wrestling a day in my life. Like, soccer was my sport. And then to come publicly with season 1 of Total Divas about my sobriety journey, then led me to meeting the boys later on.
Working in the treatment industry, we see the bad part of it.
Yeah.
We see people fail. We see people die. Families get torn apart.
I suffer from mental health issues. I've always suffered from mental health issues, undiagnosed bipolar. They didn't know what this stuff was. They didn't know what PTSD was. They didn't know what trauma was. We had no clue what was going on. I lived every day crying.
What's up, guys? This is Wade Mulhauser. I'm the CEO and founder of Plugged In Recovery. We have a special 3-part series for you with the Hopeaholics in studio. Our studio is not big enough to fit all 3 at one time, but I get the pleasure and truly the honor to sit down individually with all 3 of them. They're at our outpatient facility here in Chandler today and share a little bit about their story. Today, first up, and probably the best of them all as far as I'm concerned, Chad, and you can find him at Chaddick
with 4 T's.
4 T's
on Instagram or any social platform, to be honest.
And I'm really excited to really sit down and interview Chad first because he is a treatment center owner. He is the person who, after facing tragedy, had started the Hopeaholics with Shane. And to hear a little bit of his story of where he came from, starting out in the treatment space, and then, you know, starting the Hopeaholics and everything that went through the tragedy to start that podcast, and then where we've kind of gotten to this point today. You're excited. You should be excited for just what's ahead. Where did you start?
With the Hopeaholics podcast?
Yeah.
The Hopeaholics podcast started with our original, it was what do you call it? The executive table in our small conference room. I took that. It was brown. It was ugly. I turned my office into the studio, and there was a glass window behind the guest and Shane, and that's where people like walk back and forth. So if you go back and you look at the original episodes, dude, it's terrible. But you know what? I was nervous. I was scared when we first started. Like, I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't know. I'm actually a shy person, so public speaking was something I never wanted to do. I would ditch school if I had to do a presentation in front of class, and then my son-in-law dies from fentanyl, right? And God tells me, build a podcast studio, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. So I built the podcast studio, not even thinking about doing the first episode. And I thought, I'll grab Shane because Shane likes to talk. And if I don't feel like talking, Shane will talk, right? So we get it built. It's time to do the first podcast. We bring my daughter in to do the very first podcast. And about an hour before, I started thinking, oh my God, I can't do this. And I got nervous. I started sweating, and I literally got in my car and left. Turned on the air conditioner to calm myself down, went and had some time with God, and I was like, what are you doing? Like, are you sure you got the right guy? Calmed myself down, came back to the studio, and we crushed it. We crushed the first episode, and nobody will ever see it because we made a rookie mistake, and we had the microphones on and the microphones on the camera. So the audio is all echoey.
Oh, no.
So it's the best podcast that'll never be released.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. And it was really emotional too, because it was the first time my daughter and I sat down together as, you know, a father and daughter and really talked about Justin, because like that day, you know, when I got the phone call from her, you kind of go into like I don't know, man, just like a zone, and the next couple months are just like a blank, you know, and a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings, and it was literally about 6 months after he died that we did the first podcast, and that's where all the emotions and feelings and everything came out, and it was an incredible podcast. But
so you've been You've been in the treatment space for 23 years?
25.
25 years.
25 I've worked in the industry, and I've been an owner of a treatment center for coming up on 23 years in October. October 15th will be our 23rd anniversary of Hope by the Sea. And we started as, Hope by the Sea was a little tiny 6-bed treatment facility started by myself and my dad. My mom came along shortly after. My ex-wife, who else? This other girl, Cindy. And it was just us. We just started it. We didn't really have a budget. We didn't have any money. We just had a dream and a prayer, and it was a different time, and everything was a cash pay business back then. We had $10,000 cash to start the program. And if I have any claim to fame, I was one of the first 5 to ever market and advertise on the internet. And I had a $2,000 marketing budget. I put the $2,000 down on Yahoo. Yahoo was the bigger search engine back then.
Yep.
And brought in $40,000 the first month. And then we just reinvested and kept building and building. And I do want to say, we had such little money that we could only afford to buy 2 beds in our 6-bed treatment center. So we bought 2 beds, and when we filled those 2 beds, we went out and bought 2 more beds. And that's how we did it.
Really?
Yeah. Hope by the Sea, now is a 100 beds, all levels of care, detox through IOP. We don't do OP, and we don't do sober living. We just do the levels of care. Yeah.
Which is awesome. And I mean, I love the story on starting with 2 beds and waiting till those 2 beds are full, and then getting more. I can definitely relate how we kind of started the sober living. With the amount of experience you've had in treatment, and I mean, do you even have a number? Because you can't obviously count the ripple effect that you have on people's lives, but have you gotten to see some stories along the way of just how much of an impact Hope by the Sea and then now your other ventures have had, I mean, locally in California, but even beyond?
I mean, yeah, we did start a Facebook page, like in the early days of Facebook. So we have an alumni page, and I have people on the alumni page that have 18 years clean and sober. And it's those people, it's those alumni that keep you going and keep you pushing when times are tough, man. Because working in the treatment industry, we get to see the bad part of it. Yeah. We see the stuff. We see people fail. We see people die. We see people go through a lot, and families get torn apart. And whenever I'm feeling that way, man, every once in a while, something will pop up on the alumni page. Like somebody popped up in 18 years clean. I came through Hope by the Sea 18 years ago. Graduated college. Is an attorney. Has a family. Like, what?
Yeah.
It's those things that, just make me know that I'm doing the right thing and on the right path. Working God's will.
That's amazing. And then so fast forwarding, I mean, all the people you've touched, all the things you've done. Now you have a tragic story of your daughter's fiance passing away due to overdose. Yep. So you get inspired to start the Hopeaholics. Now tell me what that wild ride has been, because I'm sure, going into the new age of treatment, but now just being social media influencers and having this voice of this program that is a staple in California, but now a voice on the internet and a crew that really, I mean, you and Shane, and it is a team type thing, but you were kind of behind starting. What has that ride been like the last,
I mean, I want to go back just like a little bit before that, because when I go all the way back and I tell you I was one of the first of 5 to ever advertise on the internet. So I kind of started that game, right? And you couldn't do it today. So it was like God putting all these things in my life. I also did relapse kind of in the public eye as an owner of a treatment center. And that had a lot of effect on me as far as like not wanting to be in the public eye anymore. So when I finally got sober again and was back on track, a lot of people were sitting around saying, hey, you shouldn't be working in treatment anymore. You know, you only got a year sober, all this stuff, right? And I've known since the day I walked into Narcotics Anonymous that my purpose in life was to help other people that suffer with the same thing that I suffer from. And just because I relapsed, just because anybody relapses, doesn't mean that you shouldn't be helping somebody. I mean, it even talks about it in the AA book, that, you know, somebody with 2 days clean can help the addict with 1 day clean, you know, and that's what we do. And that kept me out of the public eye, but it also forced me, I put my head down, I put the cotton in my ears, I didn't listen to anybody, and I listened to God, and I continued to build my businesses. And God put it on my heart to be the voice for the people that have lost their lives to the fentanyl crisis, and to offer hope to the families, man, because like, how many family members can't get out of bed? Like Justin's dad still struggles. And it, you know, it like breaks my heart because, you know, I know he's struggling. But I also know that, and I know that he knows that if he ever needs anything or he ever needs any help and he wants to get his life back together, I'm there. You know, I'm there. So for me, none of it has ever been about me wanting to be in the public eye at all. Like, I don't even like consider myself that. I don't consider myself to be an influencer in any way, shape, or form, like a social media. I don't do it for that. I do it to just offer one or two people hope that, you know, they can get through this. It has been a wild ride, and it's been kind of cool, you know. And again, for me, this is all God. Like, you know, it started with just Shane and I, and then we were blessed to have a celebrity on our podcast. And you know, I don't consider Natalie to be a influencer. I consider her a celebrity. You know, she's a WWE superstar. She was on the reality TV show Total Divas for 6 seasons. Huge following on social media, and that has changed our lives more than anything. Right? That changed who the Hopeaholics brand is. It gave us a little bit more voice, which is all really any of us care about. Like, we just want to be a bigger voice to help as many people as we possibly can, and nothing more than that. You know, I don't care about how many likes, views, follows, any of that bullshit. What I care about is when our DMs and people say, "Thank you, I was able to stay sober today because I watched your podcast." That's what fills me up. That's what makes me know I'm doing the right thing. And to be honest with you, it's the only thing I care about, man. I was trying to save another life, because I actually know what it feels like to lose a loved one. Like, I know what that day feels like, and it shit don't feel good.
No.
You know, the shit don't feel good. And to see your little girl
have to go through that.
To have to go through that, and that little girl is the reason why I'm even sitting here. You know, that little girl saved my life. And since the day she was born, I've called her a little angel. And she knows this, but since the day she was born, I'm a creature of habit, right? And she's 24 years old now. She found the love of her life dead when she was 21 years old. And for the last 24 years, every day when I put my lotion on, I put it in my hand as an A, because that's her name. Her name's Aurora. And I put an A on my hand before I put my lotion on. And it's something that I've done since the day she was born, you know, because she saved my life. She's my angel. And I tell her this, and I know it's pretty emotional, because like, everything that's good in my life is because she was born. You know, including my other children and my wife and all of that stuff. But I wouldn't have any of those things had she not ever been born, because I wouldn't have had the clarity to walk into the program again and turn my life around. You know, and so that's really what we do, is we just try to offer hope. The Hopeaholics was another crazy name that just popped out of nowhere. The original name for the podcast was called A Dictionary, and a dictionary was taken. And I was like, what? I was so stoked on a dictionary, which I'm way more stoked on the Hopeaholics, because it's not just about addiction, man. It's about everybody hurts.
Yeah.
Family members hurt. And the one thing that connects all of us like human beings is pain. We all know what it feels like to hurt inside. So like when I tear up and I cry, and I know that other people know what that feels like. And it's the one thing that connects us. And we can forget about all the other stupid shit that's going on in the world.
I love that. And I think the biggest thing, and even the point that I want to get across is, Natalie is a celebrity, but I do call you guys influencers because I am very pointed to the guys in our houses, and I'll turn them on to your guys' show and to have you follow on social media and stuff, because I always tell them anything that you're listening to or watching or you're around on a daily basis is influencing your life. And so if you can get people who are positive, how you can show that people are having fun in sobriety, and people who are, going out there and truly living life to the fullest, taking this massive pain that they went through to use that to help other people and have fun doing it, that like those are the people that you want to look up to. And that's what the influence that you should be having on your life is. You can take that same pain and struggle, and to watch you guys who are just so natural in your element of just being you, not having to do it for a camera, not caring if somebody shares or likes or anything like that. But again, like you said, the person who reaches out that says, hey, thank you for posting that, you saved my life today. Or the parent who says, I know what you're feeling like because my son or daughter is experiencing that exact same thing. I think the realness has been what has, beyond the celebrity, really allowed you guys this platform to just affect so many massive people. Where you're in Gilbert, Arizona tonight for an ice hockey event, to support the cause.
Yeah. For me, it's just been just go out and be yourself, and authentically show the world who you really are, regardless of what anybody thinks. I just don't want another family member to have to go through this. Those phone calls happen 300 times a day. Like while we've been sitting here, 2 to 3 people have gotten that phone call. And a lot of those people are having the worst day of their life right now. And for whatever reason, like God left me here, I shouldn't be here. Like I shouldn't be here. So many times, like I rolled my car off the 10 freeway in Pomona 5 days before my little girl was born. But that was also God, because he knew if he didn't do something drastic to get my attention, I wasn't going to wake up. Because I get so deep. I'm sick. And that's the one thing that I want the world to know is like addicts are sick. They're not bad. They have holes in their heart bigger than you can. And some of the most amazing, kind, loving, sensitive people you'll ever meet. And that's what the world doesn't really understand. I mean, there's such a stigma behind being an addict or having mental health issues. Man, people that are suffering, they're suffering. We don't just stick crap in our bodies because we're having a great day.
Facts.
No, you can't deal with the pain that's going on inside. I mean, that's sensitive. And I'm starting to think there's starting to be more of us than there are of the rest of the world. Eventually, we're going to take over. I got to tell you because one of the coolest things that ever happened in my life was doing that event with RFK Jr. How did that happen to me? And not to be political in any way, shape, or form, RFK Jr. is in recovery 40 plus years. He goes to 12-step meetings 7 days a week, and 9 if he's at his home, which is, that in of itself says something to me. Because if anybody knows anything about the 12-step program and people in the program, you've changed.
You've changed. And you're living by principles.
Yeah, principles of rigorous honesty, to the best of our ability on a daily basis. And when we do wrong, we admit it quickly.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, man, I know just out of time and to get all of you, I'll keep it short, but I really hope I can get out there. I can see your guys' studio. I want to promise from you when I can get the space, I can get all 3 of you on at one time. Yeah. I would absolutely love it. You're someone I admire, I look up to, and I'm glad to call you a friend.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks
Same.
for being
Appreciate
here.
it, man. Thank you.
I appreciate you, brother.
Cool.
So next up on our 3-part series with the Hopeaholics, We have, and I'm going to say this for everyone.
Shane Earn, yes. Hey, buddy. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, dude.
Nice
How
to be
are
here, man.
you?
I'm a little nervous and excited at the same time. Yeah, so I had to interrupt. That's what I do when I get nervous.
I love that.
Yeah, man.
Dude, thank you just for being authentic.
No, I appreciate it.
And thank
Yeah.
you for being here.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I want to know a little bit about your story.
Right.
We hear the other two. I hear how, you and Chad started the Hopeaholics, right? And I kind of went through a little bit with him on that. But take me back further. How did you and Chad meet? How did you guys get?
I had a little crack problem in Canada.
Okay.
And I came to California to get sober. I got sober and started a company, Client Acquisitions. I met Chad around 15 years ago, and we've been friends ever since.
How did you guys get acquainted as business partners?
He had a guy die at his company, Marquez. I forget his name.
Okay.
But he died, and I took that guy's spot. Yeah, just good timing.
Good
well,
timing.
not for the guy that died, obviously.
Yeah. Well, and so you took over. What did you take over as in the business?
Just kind of marketing. I know a lot of people. I've been in this industry for 15, 16 years, and I'm really good at making contacts with people. That's my thing. I'm a people person, so they want to help me, Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so kind of forming the Hopeaholics and starting your guys' podcast, just you and Chad to start.
Just me and Chad to start. Chad had a terrible tragedy. His son-in-law passed on a fentanyl poisoning. One pill can kill, and it did that day. He came to me about a week later and said this is on his heart. He wants to start a podcast, give back to the community, and I was just, really grateful he came to me.
Now, you've kind of taken on the role in the team of not only promotions and making the connections to get guests and everything like that on the podcast.
Yeah.
You are a connector, like you said, but you've also taken on a special role as, I would say, the mental health advocate.
That's my primary goal is mental health. I'm not in recovery.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. Why is that the passion?
I'll tell you what, I suffer from mental health issues. I've always suffered from mental health issues, undiagnosed bipolar, my whole life, you know what I mean? And when I was growing up, they didn't know what this stuff was. They didn't know what PTSD was. They didn't know what trauma was, you know what I mean? And family trauma, we had no clue what was going on. I lived every day crying. I'm not going to lie. It was a painful childhood. I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin. I didn't like the clothes I had. I didn't like anything about my life except for my parents, my mom, my brother, my grandmother, the immediate family. That's what saved me.
And you see that more and more. We see that at our treatment center, specifically with a lot of parents that I talk to that tell me we would never know our son or daughter struggles with this, right? And I think of like the Robin Williams and some of these other people who are famous, and I'm seeing parents say the exact same thing until their kid has a suicide attempt.
Well, so here's the thing. There's always signs. We just don't want to accept the signs. Like for me, it was, I'm at a party and I'd call my mom and say, hey, I don't feel comfortable in my clothes. Can you bring me a change of clothing? And she'd come to the party, bring me a change. Like they fed into it just because they're like, well, all right. So this one party, I changed 4 times. My mom waited in the parking lot, in the car, smoking cigarettes with clothes. That's how it came. That's how far it went for me. That's insanity, right?
That is insane.
Bro, I'm telling you. Now, I was 14, 13 years old. So this wasn't me making things up. I was just trying to feel okay. Any way I knew how before I knew what substance was. Something mind-altering.
Mm-hmm. Now, getting into that and just kind of expanding on that a little bit more, as far as your own personal mental health journey, what kind of took place there and what does that look like today?
Okay, so for me, what happened was this. I have strict regimens in place. So I get up a certain time, I go to bed a certain time, I do certain things during the day to ensure my safety, Just like that movie, A Beautiful Mind, when the guy came in at the end and said, you're going to win a Nobel Peace Prize or a Nobel Prize for mathematics or whatever, the guy said, hey, is this real? Like, I'm like that sometimes. I'm not sure, And then even just flying down here, right away, the second I hear we're going on a plane, it's like, oh, damn, it's going to crash. Like, my first thought is pain and suffering, and I have to get over that. That's just how I've always been. That's why I try to be so outgoing when I'm in a room and so positive and loud and proud and obnoxiously myself, because I just don't want to let those other thoughts come in. And if I'm not how I am aggressively with it, I'm not going to go to bed.
That's awesome. So kind of fast forwarding then today, right? Not only your own mental health journey and everything like that, where would you like to see the mental health advocacy go with the Hopeaholics?
Bro, a great question. That is so difficult because here's the thing. When you're dealing with family members, they don't want to accept certain signs. It's not even a matter of helping the crazy one, let's call them. It's a matter of helping the parents or the family members or the wife or the people saying, hey, let's pick up on these small signs. Stop doing this. You know what I mean? Not doing that. Doing something this. There's a reason behind every change, no matter what. Whether it's positive change or negative change, there's a reason behind it. Why are you dressing better? Why are you taking better care of yourself? Well, I'm fucking cheating, that's why. Do you know what I mean? Like there's always a reason behind something. You just got to dig into it. So what I want to do is I want to bring that power to the families and let them know that there are ways to nip this in the bud and make sure it doesn't go to suicide. Yeah.
I love that. And it means I know I'm not going to touch on it with Chad or Natalie. Talk about the new project.
What's the new project? Tell me. AI?
Yeah.
So the AI is a community-based artificial intelligence, which is really quite amazing. At any time of the day, you could text this askevamarie.com and you could get an answer or response from her in real time. So it's really quite amazing because just think about it. If you're actually going through a struggle and you do have a psychiatrist you're seeing once a week, which is very typical of today with us, and it's 11 o'clock at night, you can't get to your fucking psychiatrist, what are you going to do? You're going to beat yourself up or take a few Xanax and calm yourself down. But here you could actually do something. You could make it like you're doing something. You're not going to sit there and be a victim. You're going to take the phone. You're going to start talking to it. You're going to get some responses back. You're going to make yourself feel better. It's all about action steps today, bro. Without action steps, we're all dead. That's just life. And that starts from a young age. You learn to crawl, walk, run. Those are action steps. We got to carry that into fucking adulthood.
So where do you see this tool being used in just real life application? Give some examples to our people out there.
I think really for parents, for teachers. Here's the thing. Everybody wants to say you're on the right track. Everybody wants that little tap on the back and saying, you know what, this is good. Keep researching, you're finding stuff out. Even parents that want to find out about drugs or, listen, my son's sleeping until 11 o'clock at night. He's not coming home until 2. He's a little aggressive. It seems like he's sweating during the day. And yet, you know what? You could plug all this into this computer. It'll come out with reasons, excuses, directions for you to take. And it's going to compliment you on your thoughts. So if you're thinking there's a problem and obviously you're typing away, it's going to amplify. It's going to either say, no, you're fucking nuts, or it's going to say, yeah, here are possibilities, and reinforce what you're thinking and maybe give you a little bit of nerve to approach that loved one in a kind, loving way. What else it'll do is it'll tell you how to approach that person. What words should I use? What tone should I have in my voice? What shouldn't I say? How should I deal with this stuff? It'll guide you through that process.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah, it is really quite incredible.
And the people who are struggling, I mean, asking it simple questions of, I can't stop having bad thoughts, or I'm not feeling good today.
Yeah.
I was told that it would be able to even do things as soon as, or as awesome as having maybe a counselor reach out
100%.
or a check-in.
Yeah, 100%.
So the applications in like alumni programs,
yeah, bro,
and things of that
100%,
nature.
100%.
That
all
is,
of it, yeah.
What are you most excited for in the next 6 months then?
What am I? You know what? Honestly, I got this guy, Ryan Beckman. We put on this lack can't score. Yeah. I'm excited to be with him with the next 6 months and the Hopeaholics. I think we're going to go on a North American tour. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's a big push I'm doing. Yeah, that's it, bro.
Dude.
That's it. I love you, buddy.
I'm going to be there for the ride. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, super excited. Last but not least.
The best.
The best.
Save the best for last.
I said it for everybody. I'm most excited about you, but you'll see the other two. I said the exact same thing before, so it's an honest program.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
But without further introduction, Natalie Marie.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
You've been awesome coming all the way out here and then hanging with us for the day. I know your story, obviously, being a celebrity, being a diva.
That I am.
That you are. But tell me your struggle, right? How did you get connected into the recovery industry? And you had said a little bit last night, which was kind of the first time I had heard it, was at one point there was so much shame and guilt, but then you kind of said, and I don't want to steal your story, but how like you wanted to be able to tell your story, not other people to really tell it for you. Tell us about that.
My journey it started really like early on, but kind of what brought me here with the boys and doing what I'm doing now, like, you know, you have these moments of you have no idea what life even really means or like why is this happening, but now fast forward to like 12 years later, I totally understand the entire journey along the way, just because it was like so odd how things happened for me coming out of treatment, then getting the opportunity for WWE, never wrestling a day in my life. Like soccer was my sport. That was the dream. And then to come publicly with season 1 of Total Divas about my sobriety journey, then led me to meeting the boys later on. But I think it's so powerful. I mean, you know, have you watched 8 Mile? You know, that movie? Okay, so you know how at the very end, Eminem raps basically all the shit himself about what the guy's going to use?
Yeah.
It's basically like, come at me, bro. Like, you have nothing. I already said it. So it's like when you own your own story, whatever that is, who's going to, like, talk shit to you? No one, because it's yours. You already know it. Like, that's what the program gave me, is being honest and looking at myself and realizing my weaknesses allows me to give all the glory to God because he's my strength. And I have no shame in that anymore. Because like I kind of mentioned last night, damn, the amount of shame that I had just having the disease, like there'd be many nights where I'm like, what is wrong with me? Why am I like this? Why can't I stop? Or why am I literally wrecking my life when my parents are my heroes? I like don't even want to talk about them because every time I do, I just have so much gratitude with. They just celebrated 52 years of marriage. Like,
wow.
Talk about exactly, in my eyes, what true love, like your partner for life through it all. I mean, I'm the youngest of all boys, so we put them through
the ringer, to say the least.
I mean, yeah, that's doing it a little bit light, but so it's a beautiful thing, and I'm too blessed to be stressed.
That is amazing. So you touched on it, which I want to go there.
Yeah.
Your relationship with God. Did you find that through the program? Were you raised like that? Did you stray away? Did you come back to it? I know at one point you were married. Was it something that after that you found?
Honestly, I think I've always had a relationship with God. I'm Mexican-Italian, so I was raised Catholic. First communion, CCD, the whole shebang. I mean, I had a quinceañera. So my parents weren't these like crazy religious kind of like that you see where sometimes when you get older, you have like a negative connotation towards the institutions. I never had that. Like my childhood best friend was Mormon. I would go to her church, go to her little programs and stuff. And then I had Jewish friends that bought mitzvahs and stuff like that. So my parents really allowed me to embrace other people's religions. So I always had a strong faith, but I think it's always kind of, I like control. So I always want to take the wheel. But when I'm behind the wheel, I wreck shit. So it kind of fluctuates for me. And then I would say in the last year, especially because of being with the boys and partnering with Chad and the Infinity Group, to being a co-host to the Hopeaholics podcast, and then also opening up my very first treatment center, it has made me, I mean, selfishly, it's the best thing that could have happened to me, because I think life gets busy and you see it all the time in the rooms. Like, the promises are real. They really do happen. And things start to come back that normal people don't lose, like a driver's license and things where you would never think that you would lose those types of normal kind of things that we all have to continue to live. And the first thing that, for me, when those kind of come back to you, I immediately forget how I got them, which is him first, program, sponsorship, service, all those things. Immediately, it's like, I want the ball again. And it's like, no, bitch, sit the fuck down. Because he has no problem humbling me. And I don't want to do it again. I'm tired.
I get that. And it's crazy because, I've always said that, Jesus can bring you to your knees in a second.
For sure.
If he wants, right? So it's better for us to choose to get on our knees.
Oh, totally.
But when you think of like the nearness to God, because I hear people, like guys in the houses, and I always talk about it, it's like, oh, I just got to get closer to God. And one thing I always talk about with that is I don't think God was farther away. It's not a proximity thing, right? Like when I was homeless and had a sign for money and really wasn't praying to God, but unless it was, please let
Like
someone drop $5. Yeah, it was Gina, right? I always say Santa Claus. I'm like, what do I got to do to not get cold this year and like hopefully hit a scratcher?
Yeah.
Like that's all I was looking
Right.
for. But like at the end of the day, it was God never left.
Nope.
So along that journey, I think our job today is just like you said, to glorify him and all the amazing things that he's done in your life. So that journey for you, what does it look like today? Is it, church on Sundays? Are you growing in the book? Are you doing like small step studies? What is it?
So I think, honestly, for my relationship to be where it's at today is being in the Word. If you seek him, you will find him. So I think that alone is everything, because once you start, just open the Bible and start reading some of I think they're pipe bombs, that he drops. It's so comforting. It's so healing. It's like, damn, this is amazing. And that's where I think relationship, like you said, we have this fallacy in our brains where we're like, oh, my relationship's so far away. Like, no, he's right there. He's ready. You just have to be willing. And it's spending that, like, I've been so disciplined every morning. Now it'll vary amongst time, but anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour and a half is just like in the Word, and that could just be depending on what's going on. Like I could be doing a Bible study or certain scriptures or devotionals, or just I want to be in Psalms or something, it's just, I mix it up all the time. But I think that's the biggest game changer for me in the last year, and it's brought me so much peace. I mean, you brought up, I was married and going through, like currently still going through the divorce. I've never been more peaceful. And technically, I don't think I've ever really mentioned this like publicly yet, but looking at my life from a personal standpoint, it couldn't be more chaotic. But I'm so fulfilled, and I've never been more peaceful, which is wild. So that's how I know it's because of him. Because God didn't bring me this far to drop me. And the guilt and the shame that I had just around a divorce, because yes, I was raised Catholic and my parents celebrating 52 years, it's like, you don't get divorced. But talking to my parents about it and having them, they have my back no matter what. Through the darkest of times to the best of times, is something where I think people sometimes miss the forest for the trees. Is like, God is always there for us. It's just, are we willing to open our eyes and our ears to see him, to hear him? Because it's all around us all the time.
And I love that. And you hear celebrities, superstars, I'll say, and that's what I consider you, right? Is the first thing they think is God. When you were kind of going through that stage of your life, were you in the Word at those, and you've gradually progressed, or what did that look like?
Not like this.
Okay.
So it's really weird, because when I first got into the programs at 23, and when it came to the whole God thing, believing in a power greater than yourself, I had no issue with that. But I do remember seeing like award shows and people getting up there and then saying like, I just want to thank God first. And I would kind of roll my eyes, because I was naive and dumb, not understanding the magnitude of what that really means until obviously he humbled me enough to essentially break me. That's where I think when people are struggling, where they feel there's no hope, there's no way out, and they're in the darkest place, to me, that's great. That's good. Well, one, there's nothing you can go is up. Two is he brings you to those moments so that there's nothing else for you to search for except for him. That's when you will reach out. That's when you will actually start to rely on him as opposed to myself. Because me, up to my own devices, ain't it. I've tried way too many times. And I'm finally come to the realization of I'm not going to try to do that anymore. Like, why? I get burned every single time. And it's so freeing to know that I don't have to. Like, that's why I think I'm so peaceful, is because, and I start my morning that way, because life is busy, life is crazy, life happens at any moment with anybody. And so it's like my armor, because I'm not dumb. My disease is that bitch is wild. Like, she's a beast, nonstop working out, ready to take me out. And I have to remember that and be diligent on my spiritual program, because I forget how dark it was, because now it's not that way.
Yeah.
So I never want to forget. I never want to forget the place that I was to where I am today.
And you work a program. You're solid in your program. You can just hear it in the way that you speak. And
it wasn't always like that.
No. Okay.
I am that person. I had this round because obviously, I relapsed a couple times. Finally, I'm on this journey. And at year 4, I wasn't working a program, but I was like a dry drunk, sober, not picking up a drink or a substance, but miserable, wanted to take my life, suicidal, as to a point where I was so concerned that I was just like, I have everything that I have hoped and wished for. What is wrong with me? So I thought I literally, there was something deep-rooted wrong with just me as a shitty person, all these things that I prayed for now have come into fruition that I thought were going to fill me up. And then I was going to be this happy little butterfly, and I couldn't have been worse. I was so miserable. Thinking back on that, it just is kind of crazy, because it's not really that long ago. I celebrated 12 years in March.
Hey.
I know, which is crazy.
That's wild.
I know, it's over a decade. So, but it was because I wasn't working a program. I had a sponsor, but I wasn't checking in, wasn't sponsoring others, wasn't going to meetings, definitely wasn't doing my prayers and readings like I'm supposed to. So it's that's how quick it can go. And I don't want to be a dry drunk. You remove the substance and the alcohol, that's one thing, which is great and fantastic. But now I'm stuck with me.
Which can be worse.
And I'm the problem.
Yeah, which can be worse.
Yeah.
When you kind of looking back at that stage and then where you're at right now, just correlating what you said in the beginning,
yeah,
you had superstardom, everything that you would have wished for, but you were miserable. And now, I own a treatment center. You own a treatment center now. You've just started that up, and that can be crazy. You don't know what you're going to get every single day. You have a ton of people who depend on you,
Sure.
employees, staff, etc. You talked a little bit about going through your personal life and what that is. You have every reason to be more chaotic and probably up and down on emotions, but yet you can go to a place of peace. And I really think that is the program as a whole. Are you sponsoring people? Are you doing those types of things today?
Yeah, I am. So it's, I had my check-in. I talked to my sponsor. She's been my sponsor since I was 23. So that's just because I remember calling her back up when I got into WWE and I was fresh out of treatment. That's why I'm saying my even opportunity that came, if that doesn't show me that's all God, then I need to get slapped in the head, because it's that shouldn't happen. I don't think there'll ever be another, at the time we were called divas, but now everyone's called superstars. I don't think there'll be another WWE superstar to come into the business the way that I did, just because it's unheard of.
Yeah.
I hadn't wrestled a day in my life, and then my first day on the job was WrestleMania. And then it coincided at the same time, Total Divas, which was, I can't remember if we were the lead in or the Kardashians, but it was basically right after the Kardashians, which was the #1 reality show. So, that's God all day long.
And I can't imagine that going into just the chaotic life that is, but
imagine if I wasn't sober.
Oh my God. And you'd have every excuse, right? And you hear the stories of people in the rings and stuff like that, and painkillers
Sure.
and all the things of every excuse to use.
For sure.
If you already have that addict alcoholic tendency, if
Totally.
you're
It
not
would
sober.
be on and popping.
Yeah.
Definitely. And then the fact that season 1 is when I actually publicly came out with working a 12-step program. Selfishly, I did it just so that way I could get out in front of it, so that I wasn't, doing a backpedaling thing of trying to cover something up. But it was so freeing, because it's it's me. And I work on it on a daily basis.
And how many people, I know you have a platform today, but how many people have reached out to you probably by you telling that story and being so brave on, television for everybody to see that now you have people hitting you up saying, how much they admire your story, and maybe just questioning where you can plant a seed.
Oh my gosh, for sure. And it's so wild. And this is why God will turn something that I was so embarrassed about and I thought was just so much pain and misery, and turn it into something so beautiful. Because now it's I'm so proud of the fact that I have this disease, because it's it's so beneficial on a magnitude of levels, because just the fact of the accountability, I have no problem with looking at myself or making amends with somebody if I'm in the wrong, and not worrying about the other guy, because I can't control you or anybody that's watching this. I can control myself. And that's really where there's so much power in that. And also it's something where people will go up to my parents in my hometown and talk about either their kid or spouse or significant other. And to see that, I think, is pretty damn incredible.
That's awesome. And I said that too. God is the only one who can turn a message into a message and a test into a testimony for us to use to help other people. So just catching up with the Hopeaholics. So you started the podcast with the boys. Shane finally got you to come out. You started with them. You haven't left since. It's been probably a wild ride since then. What are your favorite moments maybe in the last year or so? I
mean, there's so many, honestly, because even that story of how it kind of came about is wild too, because my girlfriend was, you heard it last night, neighbors of Shane at the time, and she was my business partner. And so I was living in Texas because I went back to WWE in 2021, and we're on the road 292 days out of the year. So being central is really where it's at, instead of making that crazy flight West Coast to East and Central, because that's where the majority of our shows were. So I was living in Texas, and she calls me to do her a favor. And I'm like, I don't even know. I tried to look up the podcast. I couldn't even find it. I was like, dude, is this real? But after Shane stayed on me, he was diligent for sure. And when I came out, it's happened to me probably 3 times in my life. One, obviously, WWE and Total Divas, when I sat down for kind of the audition part for it. I knew it when I walked out the door, I fucking murdered that, killed it. And then when I think my first movie role I got, and then also I went in just to sit down and kind of just tell my story a little bit. And that day it was so action packed. We worked out, we did the podcast, and they had an in-person Recover Out Loud that we do now also. It was their first one, and so we went to that. But the whole day, it was just such an ease, no effort. It was just very I knew them for a very long time. And then we started kind of talking about business and what I wanted to do and this, that, and the other. And then literally a month later, flew back out, signed papers. October is hunting season, so I wasn't around. I was in New Mexico. And then November 4th, 2023, I came back and have never left.
That is amazing.
And if that's not God, then what? And it's crazy to think that, really, looking back, because I always wanted the title, right? It's how could I not? But I never really had a major storyline in WWE. However, now it makes sense. It's yeah, but he was just setting me up for this, because I wrote down that I wanted to work in treatment in some capacity, but I just didn't have the wherewithal. It's crazy, from just compliance to the state to all these things that I had no idea. I'm just an addict and alcoholic. I've been to treatment. That's all that I know. And then to walk into those doors, what if I had said no to Janet? What if I was nah, dude, I'm so busy, I can't make it, I can't. Then I wouldn't be, I feel that was really kind of my setup to my purpose, really. Which is it sounds kind of weird to say. And it sounds kind of annoying and cliche, bitch, stop. But I like who I am today. And that's a really crazy thing to even be able to say out loud, because there was one time that I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. That, to me, everything.
What would you say to someone who's maybe struggling with that same feeling right now, that they're struggling to look at themselves in the mirror?
I think it's great. I think you have no idea what you're about to embark on, but you have to be willing, because this shit is hard, and you have to diligently work at it. I work at it to this day. There's no days off. And some days are going to be shitty and some days aren't. But that's life. But I wouldn't trade the peacefulness and the calm that I have today for what I chased. I always chased, especially at the very beginning, Money, the dollar. But in the Bible, you should only worship one. And he's my one. Money will come, money will go. Doesn't matter. Like the hole that or at least that I was trying to fill all the time was what I was thinking money was going to help it, or the house, the car, the accolades, anything that I, or, to make my parents proud or to achieve this or that. But once you get something like that, then you're on to the next, or you don't even enjoy that moment, and it doesn't even feel, or it never fulfilled me the way that I thought that it would. So that was a really like weird spot to be in too. And then now I'm going through a divorce. I completely switched my life on a dime. Never been happier.
It's powerful. What are you most excited for in the next 6 months with the Hopeaholics? Other than hopefully having me on your guys' podcast.
No, for sure. There's so much. I mean, I still can't believe that Numb Recovery Centers is open, because it's kind of wild to think that I wrote it down. I'm like, God, can you please make shit happen though a little quicker, a little sooner? Because I wrote this down like a decade ago. I don't want to wait another decade for something on and pop. Yeah. I think that is, I haven't really sat because it's been so busy. Like, I'm very much invested, like even personally, like when we first opened, shout out to our COO too, because Catherine is a beast, dude. She's a dog.
Yeah.
And like, she boots on the ground with me because I wanted to physically be there. So like the first 10 that came in, I was there for their intakes, and she was showing me and training me how to be a BHT. That way, if somebody couldn't cover a shift or something, I could. So I ended up doing like 2 knock shifts. I'm not going to ask staff to do something that I wouldn't, And I very much am a teamwork makes the dream work type person. I mean, I played sports my whole entire life. And so it's like instilling that culture right off the bat. But having someone like her, which is not her job, she didn't have to do any of that, that's why I'm so grateful to be with this team, is because of stuff like that. Like when you have certain positions that are your roles, it doesn't matter. You do whatever needs to get done. That's how I feel everything should be. I don't like it's not part of my job. What do you mean it's not part of your job?
Yeah.
Like, what? That's not going to work for me. So I don't think I've had the time to like really soak it in, because it's just been so fast, and I'm learning so much from the business side too. Is a lot to soak in. So I think I'm still like in shock that it's even open. And I think for me, it's like, damn, I can't believe that something that I would literally like wanted to die from, and also didn't want anyone to know, like definitely lived like a double life, is something now that I'm most proud and have a facility to help others, because this shit is real. Like, we're sitting testaments, like we're miracles. Anybody that has the willingness, picking up the phone or telling somebody that you need help, that's tough. That's hard.
Yeah.
But that is the first step to something that you have no idea. I mean, God's going to do exceedingly abundantly more than we can even like think or imagine. And you just need that glimmer of hope.
More than we could ever wish for.
Yep.
And not only can we do all things through Christ, but his plans and designs for us.
Well, and I think too, everything that we want to do, like courage, all the things, it's in us.
Yeah.
It's already there. We just got to tap into it. It's something that just needs to come out of us, and we walk through fear.
And not only that is, think of just how this program was all laid out. And I kind of wrap it up with this, because I know we're going to be short on time, but
See, I can talk all day.
I love
I'm
it.
Mexican Italian, so it's
back.
like,
Hopefully we can have you back.
Yeah.
Because this has been awesome. The program, it says we're people who normally would not mix, and you, Chad, and Shane. But the fact that you guys all keep it real, you are 100% authentically you. That's why, I mean, just hanging out with you guys for a day, I'm so happy today I get to call you friends, homies. You can just kick it, and they are the most down-to-earth people in the world. But the fact that you three can come together, be authentically you, and then have the amount of influence. And I know Chad right away was like, when I said influence, was like, it doesn't matter about the likes and stuff. But I said, you know, I tell the guys and the girls in the house, look at how much fun they have. Look at the life they get to live. Look how like they were broken or they were on a separate journey and now they're at peace. They're having the best time of their life just hanging out. And you guys have that kind of influence on people where it's they might be down and out or they might be in a sober living or back in a rehab and not knowing what it looks like, but giving them that story to look up to is just so inspiring, and your relationship with God and everything else.
Yeah.
Thank you for being so open and vulnerable.
No,
with me
thank
today.
you. I mean, this is everything. I feel like it's a gift, and I don't take it lightly either, you know? I feel like Justin's passing, you know, is definitely a tragedy, but it brought me to them, you know? Without his passing, would I be sitting here today with you? Would I be as fulfilled as I am today? So it's like it's something that definitely is heavy on me for sure, but it's also carrying his legacy, his name, so that he's not forgotten, because through his death has brought so much hope and so much life, not only just to me, but and yeah, it is kind of crazy, but God is the one that gave me like the platform that I have today. And so now it's my duty to not only honor him and what he's done in my life, and to carry the good news to all the others that are I mean, Jesus, he'll leave the 99 for the one. So I'm searching for all those ones.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.